Good morning. I wanted to kind of touch base on what happens when the love of horses becomes the love of a sport, where the horse was once this cherished sight. Just driving down the road, you'd see a horse, grazing in somebody's fence line, and, as a little kid, you'd be like, horsey! Eventually, if you have talent and a good trainer and are guided into the sport or a sport within the equestrian world, sometimes we find that horses start to become more of a piece of equipment, sports equipment. And I get that sort of, you want to have a horse that's a great athlete so that you can perform well in the sport that you've chosen. And I don't have really any issue with good breeding. I don't have any issue with athletic horses and good choosing. What always seemed to worry me is that as young people grow in a sport, an equestrian sport, not many mommies and daddies are so rich that they can afford to keep every horse that their child has learned on. And therefore, this horse needs to find a new home because the child has outgrown this horse's abilities, and the child is now, moving on to another level and needs a horse that better suits that level of achievement. I know that the first time you have to explain to your child that, we're getting rid of Oreo because you've outgrown Oreo's talents and you need a different horse, and we can only afford to have one horse. And I know that moment is absolutely devastating to a child. I know that that's the first time your child's heart gets broken about their sport. And it might even be that first layer of a callus that I believe happens, because I think as a child really, really excels in an equestrian sport, and the more horses that they have to fall in love with and give up and fall in love with and give up, the more calloused they become about falling in love with a horse and about caring about the horse as more than a piece of equipment. It's sad to me because it's almost like I wish no horses were talented so you could just enjoy them. I've always had this thought, like, I play with my horses. I spend a lot of time on the ground with my horses. I spend a lot more time on my own feet than I do up on their backs. And I cherish all the times that I have with my horses because I actually love the animal that they are. And I love spending the time with them that I want to spend with them, and I love playing with them, and I love seeing how they think and how they figure things out and what great puzzle solvers they actually are, and that's so much fun for me that I don't really understand how anybody cannot enjoy that part, how anybody can not see that as being one of the more important parts of horse ownership. I can still see that if people lease horses, it's still the same. It's now you're just using a piece of borrowed equipment, and it is easy to not be attached and to not fall in love. But I don't know. It breaks my heart to know that there's so many discarded horses in the world who just wanted their own little girl, or who just wanted their own woman, who just wanted their own little boy, or just wanted their own man. Horses that just wanted kind of the life they thought they were being promised when those first people who breed horses, and they breed horses for the passion of breeding raising horses, and they put all their time into imprinting these babies and showing these babies love and affection and raising them with a gentle hand and trying to create an environment for them that makes them safe and valuable to a potential child. And then, for 2 to 4 years of their life, they believe that life is kind of good. And then they are discovered as being a talented animal, and then, now this kid is their person for a little while, and this kid is their person for a little while, and this kid's their person for a little while. They gradually stop wanting to fall in love either. And then they get what I call blinders on. Horses that are used as school horses wear blinders. They've learned not to want to connect with humans because they've learned to not trust that relationship. And I really, really love working with horses that have established kind of a blinders way of living, because I love helping them take those blinders off and connecting. I love helping them make eye contact that's not worrisome to them, to make eye contact that they can feel their soul can be offered to you, and they can feel your soul come to them. I love rehabilitating horses that have become vacant and don't connect, because being able to be instrumental in helping a horse connect with a human again, I think it's an awesome experience, and it's always an awakening. Always. Every horse is different. Every horse comes out of their shell differently. But as I started the podcast here, was the way those horses become kind of emotionally damaged like that, mentally damaged like that, is through the unfortunate fact that they were talented and they were useful to multiple people, and other people outgrew them, and they got moved on. And I know people who ride for sport and who are very successful and have multiple horses and probably don't know those horses very well. I'm not saying there aren't wonderful horsemen out there who are also very good at a sport and have lovely horses and love them dearly throughout the entire experience that they have together. But I don't even want to put a percentage on it, but many of those horses move on to another home, to another experience. They're like foster kids. And all a foster kid wants is a permanent place. So I wish there's rescues that help kind of the discarded, and usually that's after a horse has gone through many hands. I love when somebody does get a horse when it's still, a young 10, 15-year-old horse, and they're able to promise its forever home. And I love to be a part of developing the relationships with those forever home people. That's really where my passion is right now, is finding those forever environments where a relationship is new, a relationship is challenged, a relationship is greatly desired, and more so from the owner than the horse, because like I said, the horses just put blinders on, they shut down out of their connection with humans, they become vacant, they just kind of plug along and just go with the routine, and don't really seem like it matters to them if they could connect with a human. I promise you, when we can get a horse connecting with a human, when they've chosen disconnection for so long, it spiritual, honestly. It's two energies that are able to connect. And if you're promising yourself as a forever home to a horse, I want to be a part of helping you and your horse connect in such a way you never knew possible. I wish I could bottle what I have with my horses and just sprinkle it around a little bit so people can see how awesome that really is and strive. It should inspire people to want those relationships with their horses. So I don't want to necessarily knock down people who are talented in their sport and require multiple talented horses. I don't have a reason to be unkind about that. I just want to be there on the other end for those horses who no longer need to be the most talented in the show ring and just want whatever person's promising them a forever home. I want to be a part of helping that relationship be the best thing that they ever experienced, and as well as for the owner. The amazing bond that can be created is something that I can't put words to it. It's that magical. So I really would love to be a part of establishing some magical relationships between horses that crave it and owners that desire it. Yep. That's what I want to do.